Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy, and I'm back with another Arsenal transfer update. We're gonna speak about James Maddison. We're gonna speak about Bissouma and Kroenke's spending spree. £250 million is what we said in the last video, according to 90 Min. And reports are saying that Arsenal will be spending money this summer, courtesy of Stan Kroenke. Last summer, we bought Thomas Partey, courtesy of Stan Kroenke. Of course, he gave us the release close money, £45 million on deadline day. Now, of course, that was according to the Athletic. Look, that was awesome, but for 10 years, if you've spent £45 million on your club, yet clubs like Aston Villa have spent hundreds and hundreds of millions, it doesn't make sense. So we're gonna discuss that and more. What do you think about Kroenke's spending? Finally, is he gonna spend? I'm gonna speak about that. And then Bissouma, we do have an update around Bissouma, and that comes from a very reliable source in Chris Whitley. And I will also speak about James Maddison. That comes from the AFC Bell, who are very reliable. So let's get into it. Make sure you smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. The video is brought to you by OneXpert, and of course, please do use my my promo code Cossy Media. When you visit their website, you'll be able to redeem up to $130 by using my promo code. So let's get into it. And the first story is AFC Bell. Of course, they have written, and I don't know if this is Arabic or something like that, but they're saying despite a new contract last summer, James Maddison's camp is not closing the door to the idea of him leaving Leicester City this summer. AFC Bell understands. He understands the members of the players' camp have notified Arsenal that the player is open to a new challenge if a suitable offer arrives this summer. So that's the first update around James Maddison. His camp is very open, and they have told the AFC Bell that they will be open. They're not closing doors, despite the fact that the player signed a new contract in the last summer. They'll be very open for a new challenge. They'll be very open for if any right offers come in for the player. Now, in the past 48 hours, there have been so many reports, around James Maddison from the likes of Charles was saying that he's moved from the bottom of the list to the top of the list. That means Arsenal are now focusing on James Maddison. For me, which is something that is not bad. He's a very nice player. He's a very good player. He's English. That means he's expensive, but I love him as a player. Now, of course, we also saw reports that Arsenal will be bidding in excess of 60 million euros. We expect a bid that is around 70 million euros very soon. That story has also been there. Look, it didn't come from a very credible source, and that's why I didn't do it. But the first bid came from the story about the first bid came from a very credible source, and of course I did report about it. Now, AFC Bell, like I've said, and you can read for yourself on your screen, they are saying that despite him signing a new contract last summer, Maddison's camp is not closing the door to the idea of him leaving Leicester City this summer. He understands that the members of the players' camp have notified Arsenal that the player is open to a new challenge if a suitable offer arrives. So that is it. That is it, guys. I think one of the things we've got to understand with this deal, we've got to be first and foremost, we've got to be very patient with this deal. But one of the things I do understand is Leicester City do not want to sell. That's the first thing. They're under no pressure to sell James Maddison. They do not have any pressures to sell James Maddison. And actually, according to reports, they have not found a perfect replacement for the player, but they have lined up a couple of them. They have lined up a couple of names if the player leaves. So it's gonna be very hard to find a compromise between Arsenal and Leicester City. However, why I think the deal could happen is the player is very open to a new challenge. Of course, if you're James Maddison at this point in time, You want to get, you know, a bigger challenge. You want to play on a bigger stage. And I think that is what's going to happen. Then there is no much interest from other clubs, other big clubs. So Arsenal is not facing a lot of competition, you know, from other clubs for James Maddison, and that's the beauty with it. I think, you know, then Arsenal can actually get that player without facing a lot of competition. But that doesn't reduce the price. That doesn't make it any easier. Leicester City is one of the hardest clubs to negotiate with. Yes, you know, you can buy players from there, but it's gonna be very expensive. If it is gonna happen, it's gonna be around 55 to 70 million pounds. I think that's what's gonna happen. And of course, that takes us to story number 2, which is Kroenke. Now, in the morning we did report that Arsenal are going to be spending around 250 million pounds in the summer, and news coming in on my table shows that Kroenke is going to be spending money and money and money and money in this summer. Now, look, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm happy, I'm excited if an owner finally wakes up and spends money. But for the Kroenkes, you know, there is an exception. They've been at this club for 10 years and they have not spent money. And the club, in the last 5 years, actually, half of the years they have managed Arsenal, Arsenal has become a drowning Titanic. You know, we've become a sinking Titanic, courtesy of their poor leadership. But I've seen reports that they're gonna be on a spending spree. They're gonna, you know, spend money. Well, I don't understand what they mean. There's gonna be a spending spree, but then it takes us back to Mikel Arteta's press conferences, but way back in the season, we said, you know what, it's gonna be an unprecedented summer. It's gonna be a big summer. Arsenal is finally gonna spend the money, and you know, look, most of us did believe him, and at this point in time, we can't believe him, you know, fully. We can't trust him fully. We can't trust the words of the Kroenkes, you know, 100%. But what you have to know is, at least we have hope that there is gonna be a spending spree. So is it gonna be 250 million pounds? Is it gonna be more than that? Is it gonna be less than that? We have to wait and see. But the Kroenkes are reportedly on a spending spree this summer. Who are they gonna buy? Is it James Maddison? Is it Bissouma? I'm very, very eager to see. The story and the source I've looked at have said Kroenke is gonna be on a spending spree, and he could buy Maddison, he could buy Bissouma, and a couple of other players for Arsenal, the likes of Ben White. So let us wait and see. And finally, with Bissouma, Chris Whitley did come out and on his official Twitter handle, and he said Bissouma is one of the priority targets of Arsenal. He has not dropped in any way. Arsenal still want him, despite the fact that we might sign Sambi Lokonga, and it only makes sense anyway. If you signed in Bissouma and signed in Sambi Lokonga, of course they play in the same area, but you know, Lokonga is 17 million pounds. That is what Anderlecht are looking at, and but you know, the stature and standards of Arsenal, 17 million pounds, you could sit on the bench and wait for a player like Bissouma either to get injured or to go to AFCON, or for purposes of squad rotation. So I won't be very surprised if Sambi Lokonga comes in, who's going to be our first signing. Many reports have indicated that, and I will still report on that story the moment I get more information about it. But Chris Whitley says Bissouma is still a big priority for us. They still want him. In January, they have had contacts with the player and his camp, and they're still interested in signing him as one of the big targets. So it's a little bit disappointing, and it's a little bit confusing. There's a lot of transfer frustration, especially on the side of the player who is very much interested in an Arsenal move, but Arsenal has not actually formally and officially come out to say, you know what, we want you and we are gonna take you. But anyway, that is it. You know, at the moment, James Maddison open to an Arsenal move. He wants a new challenge. Kroenke is to spend. They're gonna be on a spending spree. Are they gonna spend the money this time? That's a very big question. And Bissouma is still a very strong Arsenal target. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you in the next one.